But her phone rang one Friday as Jasmine got dressed to leave Devon's for the weekend. She sees her mother's name flash across the screen and answers quickly. Hey, Ma, I'm on my way. Just leaving my house. Be there in 15. She tries to rush the call because no one in her life, except Lisa and Jeff, know about Devon. After a draining 10-year relationship with Chris, she vowed not to tell her family about another man unless she's sure he's here to stay. The sex is incredible, the chemistry unmatched, and their late night conversations have been deeper than she ever expected, but Jasmine is afraid. Devon makes her feel like she'd marry him tomorrow if he asked, but he had not asked, and that makes him dangerous. The last man she loved like that broke her heart, and she refuses to be a fool for another man again. From across the room, she feels Devon's eyes on her, his confusion palpable. Why didn't you tell her you were here? He asked, a smile masking the hurt in his voice. Because she doesn't know where here is, Jasmine jokes, hoping to ease the tension as she grabs her purse, but Devon steps in the doorway, blocking her exit. Are you telling me she doesn't know where I live or she doesn't know I exist? Jasmine slipped into her favorite red corset dress, its satin fabric hugging her curves. It had been a long week, and she was ready to unwind at Lisa and Jeff's housewarming party. As she arrived, she scanned the room, looking for any promising prospects, prepared to face her good side toward the most appealing one. But all she saw were overdressed, corny dudes, each one more unimpressive than the last. Of course, all of Jeff's friends looked like Carlton from The Fresh Prince, she muttered, chuckling as she poured herself a glass of Riesling. Just as she settled in, sipping her black girl magic wine, Jasmine's eyes landed on him, one of the finest chocolate men she had ever seen. Thick, well-maintained French braids framed his face, leading down to a full, luscious beard. His tight, almond-shaped eyes were intense, and his smile, God, his smile made her knees weak. He radiated confidence, standing tall, his broad shoulders filling out his fitted shirt perfectly. He spotted her the moment he walked in. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the crowded room faded away. She could feel his energy, the heat rising between them. She savored how he looked at her, hungry and intrigued. Just as she began undressing him in her mind, he caught her lustful stare. A slow, knowing grin spread across his face, and without hesitation, he walked over. His presence was commanding, his scent intoxicating, as he leaned in, extending his hand with a smoothness that made her pulse race. Hello, beautiful, he said, every syllable dripping with swagger. Hello, handsome, she replied while shaking his hand. I'm Devon, and it's a pleasure to be in your presence. That's cute. I'm Jasmine, she chuckled. Here. He handed her his keys and pretended to walk away. Jasmine frowned, looking down at them. What are these for? She asked, already bracing herself for whatever corny line was coming next. If you're going to live rent-free in my head, might as well take the keys in advance, he said, his voice smooth and teasing. Oh, you coming in, huh? She smirked. She loved a man who could spit game, but he had to be a gentleman too. It's the only way I know how to come. He kissed her hand and placed it on his chest. I know my future wife when I see her. I'm trying to bag you before one of these Carlton Banks dudes steals you away from me. Jasmine nearly spit out her wine from laughing so hard. He had read her mind. I was thinking the same thing. About being my wife, he teased, returning her hand to his lips. About the room full of Carltons, she smirked, placing a finger on his lips. Besides, I don't think you can handle me. Let's see, he replied, gesturing toward the door. Jasmine knew this was risky, but after the week she had, she needed to release some tension, and a fine man with a good mouthpiece seemed like the perfect way to do it. If the chemistry was this hot with their clothes on, she wanted to know if it could get hotter. Let's see then, she said, leading him out the door. As the door to her apartment clicked shut behind them, the air between them grew thicker, charged with an unspoken promise. Jasmine barely had time to turn before Devon was on her, his hands firm but patient as they found the small of her back, pulling her close. His lips hovered just above hers, teasing, testing her patience. Are you sure you can handle me? she whispered, her voice a sultry dare. Devin chuckled, his finger tracing the straps of her dress, the warmth of his breath sending a shiver down her spine. Guess we're about to find out. Jasmine smirked, reaching for his collar, pulling him into a kiss that ignited something wild between them. The weak stress melted away as hands explored, lips discovered, and bodies spoke a language only they could understand. What started as raw passion deepened into something neither of them had expected. With every touch, every breathless whisper, every urgent movement, there was more than desire. There was something electric, something neither of them could quite name. And when it was over, as they lay tangled in the quiet aftermath, both breathless and still, they turned to each other simultaneously.
Did you feel that?
Devin let out a deep breath, shaking his head with a grin, his chest still rising and falling. He looked at her, eyes dark with something between disbelief and certainty. Hell, yeah, I felt that, he said, voice rough and low. What the hell was that? He chuckled, running a hand over his braids. Felt like a whole different level. I didn't even know it could be like that. Jasmine exhaled a small laugh, biting her lip. Me either. Days turn into nights, and nights blur into mornings as they lose themselves in each other. Their connection is raw and powerful, a constant craving they can't seem to satisfy. Jasmine spends nights at Devin's place, Monday through Friday, leaving only to work and grab extra clothes. Her apartment feels cold and lonely compared to the warmth she finds in his arms. Devin makes her feel at home. He clears a whole chest for her clothes, gives her a spare key, and even buys her 2 satin pillowcases so she doesn't have to wear her bonnet. They make love before bed and again after waking up, their bodies in perfect harmony, every touch igniting a fire that never seems to burn out. It's more than just passion, it's comfort, safety, and everything Jasmine didn't know she needed. There are no titles, no labels, just a shared understanding that they love being lovers and that's good enough. But her phone rang one Friday as Jasmine got dressed to leave Devin's for the weekend. She sees her mother's name flash across the screen and answers quickly. Hey, Ma, I'm on my way. Just leaving my house. Be there in 15. She tries to rush the call because no one in her life, except Lisa and Jeff, know about Devin. After a draining 10-year relationship with Chris, she vowed not to tell her family about another man unless she's sure he's here to stay. The sex is incredible, the chemistry unmatched, and their late-night conversations have been deeper than she ever expected, but Jasmine is afraid. Devin makes her feel like she'd marry him tomorrow if he asked, but he had not asked, and that makes him dangerous. The last man she loved like that broke her heart, and she refuses to be a fool for another man again. From across the room, she feels Devin's eyes on her, his confusion palpable. Why didn't you tell her you were here? He asked, a smile masking the hurt in his voice. Because she doesn't know where here is, Jasmine jokes, hoping to ease the tension as she grabs her purse, but Devin steps in the doorway, blocking her exit. Are you telling me she doesn't know where I live or she doesn't know I exist? Jasmine's shoulders slump. She looks down, fidgeting with the chain handle of her purse. Both, she admits, her voice barely above a whisper. She instantly regrets her words when she sees the look of disappointment on his face. Devin raises his hands, stepping out of her way. He shakes his head, a frustrated smirk playing on his lips. I see. Please don't do that. It's complicated. Jasmine's voice pleaded, but Devin laughs, a cold, empty sound that cuts through her. Nah, it's cool, he replies, his tone dripping with bitterness. I'm good, Jasmine. He walks to the door and opens it, his back rigid with anger. Have a good weekend. Jasmine hesitates, wanting to explain, apologize, and tell him that her fear of losing herself in him is why she kept him a secret. But she can't find the words, and the way he won't look at her breaks her heart. All weekend, she tosses and turns in her bed, haunted by the memory of his hurt expression. Their bond is undeniable, but without titles or promises, she didn't think he'd be so upset about being her secret lover. Every weekend, she calls him before bed to say goodnight, but this time, he doesn't answer. The silence is deafening, and for the first time since they met 6 months ago, Jasmine feels the cold, lonely emptiness of her apartment once again. She spent the entire weekend debating how she could fix things with Devin. He hadn't responded to her goodnight calls or texts. Every week since they met, she spent Monday to Friday at his house. But with him ignoring her, going over there felt like a gamble. She was afraid he might pull one of her ex's tricks and sleep with another woman to get back at her. She didn't want to walk into any more of those moments where she saw the man she loved with another woman, but she couldn't shake the guilt of hiding him, so she took a chance. She stopped by a small boutique to pick up lingerie in his favorite shade of green, grabbed some wine, his favorite dinner, and headed to his place, heart in hand. This is why Devin was so dangerous. If it had been any other man, she would have blocked him for being petty and moved on. But for some reason, her heart wouldn't let her go. Her heart told her to do something she'd never done for any other man. Be vulnerable and give him the power to break it. Jasmine knocked gently on his door. After just 3 knocks, Devin opened it. He looked a bit off, but at least he was alone. The smell of Hennessy hit her immediately, and she saw 7 empty alcohol bottles on his table. They locked eyes for a moment. Devin stared at her, intoxicated, yet somehow sober-minded. His sadness evident but unspoken. "I didn't think you'd come back after how I acted," he said, his voice tinged with embarrassment. "What?" she asked, confused. She was the one keeping him a secret. "I felt so bad for shutting you out like that. I didn't sleep all week," he confessed, rubbing his hand over his face. There was no way. Their brief argument had driven him to drown his sorrows in alcohol. She sat beside him on the tufted sofa, burying her face in her hands to hide the tears threatening to fall. "What's going on?" she asked, breaking the illusion of the happy couple they had shared over the past few months. "Are you sad about Friday, or is there something else that led to this?" He stared into the distance, his fists clenched, his face flushed. "I'm not ready to go there," he said, his voice tense with pain. "So I'm not the only one keeping secrets, am I?" she replied, her voice tinged with annoyance and disappointment. He looked away, unable to meet her gaze, as if the weight of his pain was too much to bear. "I'll tell you, just not now. Not while I'm like this." He gestured toward the Hennessy bottles on the table, his words trailing. "Where's your phone?" He looked around as though he just remembered he owned one. "Lost it the night you left," he muttered, still struggling with the weight of his emotions. "Come on," Jasmine said, helping him off the couch and guiding him to the bathroom. She tossed his robe and a towel in the dryer to warm, brewed his favorite tea, and tidied up the apartment, all done quietly out of love, because in that moment, Devin didn't need a lover. He needed a friend. And without a second thought, Jasmine became exactly that. The next morning, Jasmine awoke to Devin's phone ringing loudly. He was still knocked out from the hangover, though he had gotten up a couple of times to use the bathroom. She reached for his phone and found it in the closet in a pile of clothes. She went through at least 100 notifications, knowing their shared passcodes would allow her access. "Well, now I know why you didn't answer my calls," she muttered, sorting through the endless notifications. When she got to her messages, her heart sank. There it was, untouched. And until now, she hadn't fully believed the "I lost my phone" excuse, but now it seemed it wasn't a lie. Yet, just as the guilt of hiding him began to weigh heavier, Jasmine came across a text from someone named Nay that read, "How you been, bae?" "Bae?" she muttered aloud. She dug deeper and found that Nay was an ex. It seemed they had broken up 2 years ago. There had been a call from Nay last Thursday, the day before their fight, and another on Friday, just hours after Jasmine had walked out. Her stomach twisted as the pieces started to fall into place. Part of her wanted to know why Nay was calling Devin bae again, but honestly, she couldn't afford to care. People like that always found their way back to each other, just like Chris and Connie had. Jasmine had a hard time trusting partners who stayed close to their exes. Her last boyfriend, Chris, had cheated on her throughout the relationship with his ex and eventually left her for the woman he swore was just a friend. Now, she couldn't help but wonder if this fight with Devin was fate's warning. Leaving his phone open on the bed with Nay's text still visible, she walked out, needing space to process the anger rising in her chest. She thought this time would be different. She thought he was different. She thought she meant something to him, but Now she wasn't even sure what something was. As she walked out, she heard Devin slur, "Where are you going?" She rushed out before he could see the tears fall. Devin followed her out. His balance was shaky from the headache. "I'm going home. This was all a bad idea. We are just strangers, Devin," Jasmine said, her voice breaking. "I don't know anything about you, and this weekend has shown me how stupid we both were to think this would work. Now I'm a stranger after 6 months," Devin asked, his voice tinged with hurt. "6 months of sex, Devin," she replied coldly. "Was it just sex when I held you while your sister called about your dad's relapse? Was it sex when I took you to my mom's grand opening? When we cried together about finally feeling like someone had chosen us? Was that just sex too?" "It's called pillow talk. You're a man. You should know that people say things in the heat of the moment. So you want to believe this was only sex, even when it was so much more? Why not? We all tell ourselves lies to survive. I'd rather protect what's left of my heart with a lie than hand it to you just for you to break it when Nate comes back into your life." "Nate can't come back." "Why not?" Jasmine asked, her arms folded. Devin looked into her eyes. The pain was evident in his gaze. "You're mad about a text message, but never found out why I was so messed up this weekend. But this is what women do. Focus on yourselves while your man suffers alone. Do you, Jasmine?" He turned away, cold as ice, walking away with his tall, muscular frame drenched in the rain. Jasmine walked away, glad it was over, but still sad. Nothing good ever lasted. Better now than later. Jasmine waited at Lisa and Jeff's door, a gift of congratulations in tow. She and Lisa meet weekly to catch up, chatting about their jobs, families, TV shows, and more. But this week was different. Lisa found out she was pregnant, and Jasmine had to break down the drama between her and Devin the other night. This breakup was unlike any she had ever known. Her things still remained at his place, the silk pillowcases he brought her, the lingerie, and over $5,000 worth of clothes. She missed those little pieces of him, and more than that, she missed him. Unlike past breakups where she'd shut down and walk away, this one felt unresolved, like a strange, lingering thread still tying her to him. But was it just sex, or could it be more? "Hey, girl," Lisa greeted her with a grin, her locks pulled into a sleek middle-part ponytail. She wore a loose-fitting blue jumpsuit that looked far too corporate for a casual girls' chat. "You can take the girl out of corporate, but you can't take corporate out of the girl," Jasmine teased. I don't have casual attire, Mrs. Hines," Lisa shot back playfully. Jasmine frowned. Hine was Devin's last name. The reminder sent her sinking onto the cream-colored couch, as if gravity had suddenly released its hold on her. "I was just joking, girl, but I know Devin is really feeling you." "Well, it's over," Jasmine said solemnly. "No way. I was so excited to become sisters-in-law with my bestie of almost 27 years, Lisa groaned. "Sisters-in-law?" Jasmine echoed. "Yes. Devin is Jeff's little brother. Different moms, different last names, but yeah, they're brothers, and they're extremely close." "Then I dodged a bullet," Jasmine joked. She spent almost 7 months making love to a man who turned out to be her best friend's brother-in-law. This is crazy. "Okay, tell me what happened. Y'all were so cute together." "What we had felt good. Too good. We were moving so fast, we lost control. It felt right, but it was wrong. You get me?" Jasmine was lost in her feelings, not making much sense, and she knew it. She glanced at Lisa, who had her hands in prayer position tucked under her chin, grinning like she had just unraveled the truth. "So y'all were rolling in the deep," Lisa teased. "Too damn deep for adults." "I hate it when you talk like that, Jazz. It makes me realize how much you let Chris break your spirit. The Jasmine I know dreamed about a love like this. She prayed for it. And now you're dismissing it because some corny dude had a baby with his ex?" "That corny dude was the love of my life. I followed him into the deep and he drowned me. So excuse me for wanting to stay on dry land," Jasmine snapped, standing abruptly. "But you're still here, babe. Heartbreak feels like death, but it's really a rebirth. And if you let Devin suffer for what he didn't do, you're no better than Chris." "That's low, Lisa. I'm nothing like Chris. I haven't done Devin wrong. I'm just choosing me over this extended stay one night stand. Why is that so bad? Because that man loves you, and you know it. Devin is a good guy, a sweet guy, and he's been hurt too. Can't you choose love just once, Jazz? Damn, girl. Tell me you chose a side without telling me you chose a side, bitch. Jasmine joked, tossing the pillow at Lisa playfully. All right, first, don't call me that. I hate that word. Second, he called me crying the night y'all broke up, and I felt bad for him. I've never seen him like that, not even after his breakup with Nay. Speaking of that girl, she texted him, calling him her bae. That's why we broke up. So clearly, they're giving it another go. Now, Lisa was pacing, her expression shifting to something almost unreadable. What was Jasmine missing? Devin had reacted the same way when she brought up Nay. So, you guys didn't have that conversation yet? Lisa asked hesitantly. Girl, what is going on? Every time I mention her, y'all act like y'all seen a ghost. Jazz, Nay died. That text wasn't from her. Her mom called Devin from Nay's phone to tell him about her passing and to check in on him. Jeff had to go over there. It was so bad. Oh, Jasmine sank back onto the couch. Nay and Devin were like brother and sister. They had known each other since they were kids. They dated for a month before realizing they were better off as friends. So he didn't lose an ex. He lost a good friend. After lunch with Lisa, Jasmine left feeling dizzy, weighed down by the guilt over how she'd handled their last conversation, especially now that she understood Devin was grieving. Jumping to conclusions had become second nature to her for her time with Chris. More often than not, she was right, and it had become her way to protect herself. Whatever conclusion she reached gave her permission to shut down and walk away. But with Devin, even after she walked away, doubt gnawed at her. She couldn't fully justify leaving something that felt so right when she barely had all the facts. Some nights, she would open their text chat to reread messages from when things were good. It always made her smile. Then she would see the notification. Devin is typing. It popped up every night for 5 minutes before disappearing. He wanted to say something, but pride held him back. She had done the same. Her worst fears had come true. That effortless chemistry they once indulged in was now dampened by distance and pride. Devin often opened their chats to look at the intimate photos they sent each other. Naked pictures paired with sweet quotes. Jasmine's messages were always deep and thoughtful, while Devin's tended to be short and simple. The last photo she'd sent showed him lying on his back, head turned to the side, arms tucked under the blanket, lips slightly parted. As he read it, a tear slipped from his eye. He began to type a message, wanting to express the depth of their connection, not just physical, but something far more meaningful. He wanted to remind her that their fast-paced romance was more than sex, though she already knew that, or at least he hoped she did, given all the effort they both put in to make it feel real. But then, memories of how cold she'd been during their last encounter hardened his heart. He closed his phone. She was the one. This had never been just about sex, even if it was one of their favorite things to do. Since receiving the news about Nay, all Devin wanted was to be close to Jasmine, to share with her the complicated history he had with Nay, to reminisce together. But now, all that remained was silence. I am tired of seeing you like this. Call that girl, Jeff said as he opened all the shades in Devin's place and removed the dirty clothes off the floor. This has gone on long enough. You were inseparable for over 6 months, and now you are a mess apart. The cool breeze and the sudden realization that their pain was mutual made him sit up. He had convinced himself she'd already moved on and would eventually forget about everything they shared. I can't, Devin sighed. She called me a stranger, man. I'm cool if that's how it is after everything I showed her. I need a few more days, and I'll be fine. You said that last week. Call her. Jeff continued to pressure Devin as he pushed the phone into his hand. I said, no, I'm good. Look, I'm up. I'm about to shower, shave, and do some work. She feels bad enough. Just call her and tell her you're not mad, at least. Not bad enough to apologize. She expects you to make the first move, and as gentlemen, it is our job to set the tone. Call her and tell her how you feel, and see what happens. I'll think about it. Be a gentleman and call her. Jeff knew exactly how to push Devin, gently but firmly. As the ultimate gentleman in his relationship, he encouraged Devin to do the same, even in situations like this. Okay, bro. I'll do it after I shower. Devin slowly slipped into his thick jeans and t-shirt, dreading the moment he knew was coming. He suspected Jasmine would screen his call, and he braced himself for the embarrassment of following Jeff's advice. But he had to try. Just as he feared, there was no answer. The disappointment stung. He longed to hear her voice. Saying he missed Jasmine was an understatement. He craved the warmth of her embrace. Life had been tough lately since Nate's passing. Jeff had never steered him wrong, even assuring him that Jasmine felt bad too. So, swallowing his pride, Devin grabbed his keys and let his heart guide him to the one woman who could make his house feel like a home. It was raining something awful. Jasmine was grateful she didn't wear any makeup that day. She had overslept and lost her phone that morning as she rushed out of the house. Her body was not adjusting well to being home instead of Devin's during the week. Just as she grabbed her things to step out of the car, she heard a horn honk behind her. It was Devin's car. Oh my God. She panicked and grabbed her stuff to run in quickly enough to avoid him. If she saw his face, she did not stand a chance at getting over him. She didn't want to end it, but it was for the best. What they had was sweet, but it was very careless and needed to end. Just as she reached her door, she heard his voice. Jasmine. Devin yelled her name from a distance, his voice filled with a yearning that matched her own. She turned to see him standing in the entryway of her apartment building. God, did she miss him? All those feelings started to rush back, and she melted like a pile of chocolate under the sun. We were never strangers. He held out his hand, waiting for her to come to him. But she resisted the pull that had drawn her to him all those months ago, and she couldn't move. She shook her head and stayed rooted in front of her door, trying to stop herself from falling back into their bubble. On the day I walked into Lisa and Jeff's, I felt you before seeing you. And once I saw you, I had to meet you. And once I met you, I knew you would be in my life until my last breath. So we were never strangers, and we could never be, because you're the other half my soul's been seeking. I ain't never been the type to chase love, never even thought about it like that, until I felt it with you. No, that's not reality. Just because we turn each other on doesn't make this special. You'll get tired of me, and I don't want that. I'd rather end it now while we can still be kind to each other. No. Devin shook his head, stepping closer, his presence heavy and undeniable. He gestured between them, his voice low but firm. This ain't friendship. This is husband and wife. This is a house full of kids and love. This is growing old together. This is it. We are each other's last stop. It's destiny. You see that. You feel that. Tell me you feel that. I feel it. I do. But we can't build our future on just sex. Devin exhaled sharply, running a hand over his braids before stepping outside. He sank down onto the sidewalk, staring up at the sky like he was searching for a damn miracle. Then, before he could stop himself, he yelled into the night, his voice breaking raw and real. I love you, Jasmine Brooks. Stop pushing me away. Jasmine felt the weight of his words settle deep into her chest. She couldn't leave him out there alone, not like this. She stepped outside, sinking onto the wet pavement beside him, rain soaking them both. She turned to him, her voice barely above a whisper. What does that even mean? It means I don't just want you at night, Jasmine. I want you in the morning, when your hair's a mess and you're mean as hell. You get your coffee. I want to be beside you when you're arguing with your family at holiday dinners. I want to walk next to you in the grocery store when you're mad as hell, tossing stuff in the car just to prove a point. Yeah, we started as lovers, but somewhere along the way we became more. And that kind of connection, it's worth showing up for. I want all of you, every damn moment, because that's what lovers do. They choose each other daily. In that moment, Jasmine got the reassurance she needed to feel seen, safe, and loved. She leaned into his shoulder, her fingers finding his. She brought his hand to her lips, kissing it gently, then trailing soft kisses from his hand to his arm. She reached up to his neck. She felt the tension in his body ease, his breathing steady. Let's do what lovers do, she whispered. And just like that, they rushed upstairs, closing the space between them, releasing months of longing, and finally allowing themselves to have each other as they were meant to. In the aftermath, tangled in sheets and lamps, Jasmine traced her fingers over his heartbeat. She whispered against his skin, "Lovers don't run, they stay, even when it's hard." Devin tightened his hold on her, his voice thick with emotion. "Then I'm staying. Forever if you'll have me."
I wanna take you back, but I can't. I wanna leave you behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love you, darling. It's not easy to love you, darling. I should've left you in the moment. I should've told you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. You just run, you don't talk, and don't want